small. So I can easily read it in one day or two. That was my first impression and gave me that vibe and the eager. Because you don't have a lot of pages, means you can read and understand it.
Model, we know that we are talking about free trade. We are talking about individual liberty. We are talking about how best can we prosper Africa through the use of, free market capitalism. Today we see the Africa Continental Free Trade Area is being implemented, and all these ideas are actually related to the free trade and the divine economy model that Bruce Koeber is talking about.
The conclusion that I've come across is that there's not one idea for the economy that can work that's based on just one set of values and principles. When we look at the economy, it should be something that applies across the board, regardless of your values. And so that's my main critique of this.
Further read the economy model, so deep down they go to something to do with supernatural powers. And then I reflected upon, there's a book I always read, The Divine Comedy, in literature. So I thought it was this. So when I saw the economy model, in my mind I knew this is something to do with an approach, maybe a resolution to something to do with the economy, basically. And maybe in the right way, because something divine is something clean, right?
And my first impression was that the author was trying to interpret the godly things, how he saw the perspective of God and how he wanted to relate to the economy. So maybe he wanted to interpret a libertarian God with the earthly economics. Thank you.
My first part of things, I think that's where we can first debunk most of the ideologies of this book. Truly forgets the fact that there is need for the state to exist. That's where the rule of law comes in. You can't talk the rule of law when literally not recognizing a system that has to operate to ensure that there is something of this kind. Yeah. Talking about the rule of law, it's based on three things. The supremacy of the law is the constitution being respected in all kinds. There's what we call the equality of the law. Does it apply equally to everyone? And the third thing is that are the individual rights being respected? That also is a discussion of another day. But with the first element of ensuring that there's rule of law, there's need to have a strong government. You understand? A government that can command obedience. A government that can surely influence or ensure that those who have more can't so much affect those who have less.
As a literature scholar, I saw color and I was like, okay, I think it is more of depth, wisdom, then looking at that bit of divine, of course something related to heaven, so it's something like heavenly. But then when I looked behind, there was a bit of macroeconomics, micro, ethical economics, and I was like, okay, I think it's something to do with economics, and I was like, okay, maybe it's a hard book.
Because I received it online, and from seeing the cover page and some of the few quotations that the author used to make on social media, I kind of got a picture of, because he first mentioned that he got a dream coming up with writing this book. And so when I got that image, when I got that picture that he first got a dream, and then he imagined an economic system that operates via rule of law and has property rights and has things that connect us together, human spirit, the entrepreneurial series that speaks about economic justice, free markets. It speaks about macroeconomics, it speaks about microeconomics, speaks about ethical economics, and of course economic justice. And so these are some of the brackets that bring together the divine economy. This is
every individual in society. I'm impressed that Bruce has taken a starting point of the Austrian school, which holds up the highest regard for individuals and individual action in society, rather than starting from a point where rulers must decide things for people. So this is something that I find is the most fundamental point that he's making here, and I find that that's highly respected here by the readers in their comments.
And study up to, the curriculum can be just changed. People study up to senior 6. Someone discovers him or herself, says, I can do carpentry, I can do this, I can do science subjects, that means I'm a doctor. You switch to being a doctor, and others can switch to doing what they can do best. That takes me to my 5 Bs, whereby you discover yourself, you have a dream, you design what you want, then you develop it, then you deliver it. That's the way I think of my economy.
What is Uganda? You don't need money to get food. You can grow. People in the village live without money for a period of time. That means you can do farming there. People can get what they want to eat, or they can feed without money, but on small quantities. That means with this pyramid shape, we need a lot of people to feed. That means with economics, I think anybody who can support the economy can start with farming.
We can't have order in the market when there is no rule of law. We can't have like people prospering without rule of law. I think rule of law actually opens the panel for the rest of the other things to follow.
It speaks about the human spirit, or we can maybe call it the entrepreneurship spirit. You find that maybe a lot of people get into business and they really have the entrepreneurship spirit. They are passionate about entrepreneurship. They want to prosper in the market. They want to put things together. But again, there are these things that come and demoralize them, the taxes that you're really speaking about, the rules and regulations that you're really speaking about that maybe kill the entrepreneurship spirit.
Charged me a lot of money, but I had so I'm really glad to be here, to be meeting new faces, and us interacting about how we can free ourselves, free our minds, and therefore be able to free our society. Like you shared, Kenley, it is important for us to free ourselves before we think about freeing the society. Now, I've been listening to my friend, Mr. I've forgotten your name. Mr. LM, yeah. Every time we're on the WhatsApp group, you seem to discuss a lot of English. So the moment I came here and he handed the mic, I was like, now we are done.